Welcome to this month's Coreborn Q&A. I am your community manager, Chris Slight, and this month I have some new people with me, and I'm just going to get straight into introducing them, so let's get into it. Hello, my friends. How are you doing? Good to have you all here. Lovely. Now, Hauke, the people will probably already know who you are, but just in case they don't, Hauke, who are you and what do you do here at Blank Hands?
Yeah, I'm Hauke, and I'm the creative director at Blank Hands, or creative director and founder at Blank Hands, working on Coreborn currently.
Love to hear it. And we have two new people with us this month. Helmut, welcome to the Q&A. Let us know who you are and what you do on Coreborn.
Hello, I'm Helmut. I am the 3D character artist. I'm doing creatures, characters, and all the monsters you will see in the game. Also, I am slash head of the troll department. So if you know, you heard my name before.
That's official.
That's official.
Yeah.
So who's doing shenanigans? You know, it's me.
This is just a fact, and there's even a question that was asked that I was specifically like, we're going to get into this question because it addresses some things that, like, you know, we got to get to. Jerry, welcome to the stream. Let the people know who you are and what you do on Coreborn.
Yes, thank you very much. Hi, I'm Jerry. I'm the illustrator and concept art, one of the concept artists here at Blank Hands. I'm also working on Coreborn. And as Helmut said, he's the head of troll department. That's why we also like to call him Creative. And yeah, I'm doing illustrations, concepts, stuff like that.
Awesome, man. And people out there, you will already know both of these guys' work because you will, if you're part of our Discord, if you're following us on YouTube, Instagram, anywhere, you've seen tons of their work already, which is a big reason why I wanted to bring them on. So the new emotes in Discord, that was Jerry. The key art, and key art is, if you're not aware of the term, for that image of the people looking over Korheim out into the distance with the Molian and the pit, that was Jerry. Like any big key bit of art that you've seen, Jerry's the man who's on that. And 3D, anything that you've seen like as an in-game 3D asset that we've shared. So a number of it. So like I know we were working on the holotops, right?
Yes, the holotops is from me.
We've shown the holotops before.
Finest work, maybe.
It's really good.
Finest work, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's why I was like, first one that
even
comes
though
to
the
mind.
Gothkin. Oh yeah, the Gothkin is goddamn sexy. Yeah.
So only people on the Discord have seen your 3D model of the Gothkin so far, because that was an exclusive little sneak peek of the people on the Discord. But for those of you that are on the Discord, you know that looks cool. You've seen that. Now
yeah, there will come more.
Well, this is it. This is the exciting thing. That's just like the start of the very thing. Now, you two, I don't know the full story, but what I know is that you two knew each other already. Like how, where, how, when. Like you don't have to tell everything of just like. But how did you guys meet? What's the story? Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to know.
Tell the story because.
Okay.
On my side, it's like he know, like there's a cool guy. Let's be friends. For me, it was like this. The first day I was showing his drawing all the things and was like, oh God, he's good, nice. And I was like, okay, I need to sit near him to see how he's doing all the stuff and all the thing. And we already was talking like, okay, now we are friends. Then we in the university. There was like, yeah, you have 5 minutes to draw something. I'm sitting here and like, oh, draw like a stick man. Like, okay, 5 minutes. I have not much done. Looking at the side, like, yeah, I don't know what it is, but this is like magic on the paper. I'm like, okay, I can't draw.
Yeah.
On my other side, also a girl was like also the same. I was like, okay, Jerry, teach me how to draw. I don't know anything about drawing.
That was one of the first sentences I heard from Helmut.
Oh, really?
Can
I
you
can't
teach me how
draw.
to draw.
You need to help.
Yeah.
So that's how we met.
Yeah. And after that, it was like, okay, the guy is cool. Let's be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys live together, or did I imagine that?
No. We didn't.
Yeah, like the way you guys, like the way you guys talk though, and like the friendship you guys have. It's like these guys have spent a lot of time together.
The thing
You're
is,
probably not the only one imagining that.
Yeah.
He lives like 20 minutes away from you, so that's why I
Yeah.
like this. So if we want, we can like, hey Jerry, 20 minutes, I'm on your place. Okay, let's
Dude.
go.
Yeah.
That's what you
Yeah.
want, man.
But yeah, and since we met at the university, and as Helmut said, it actually was like, I think within the first 1 or 2 weeks that we had like contact with each other, we were like, yeah, that's a good guy. And pretty early we started always saying like, man, it would be so cool to work on a project together sometime, you know.
Yeah.
And it took some time. So we kept doing our things, worked in different companies and stuff like that, different projects. And then about a year ago, maybe bit less, Helmut got into Blank Hands, and he was always like, even before that, he was always sending me links to some companies, and he was like, hey, I just applied there. You could apply too. Would be
Yeah.
fun if we both got in. And I was with some of them, I was like, nah, thanks. And with others, I was like, yeah, okay, let's try it. And this time, actually, he got in. I didn't. But 3 months later, he called me at 8 in the morning, and I was like, okay, Helmut never calls, and if he does, he doesn't do that so early in the
Yeah.
morning. Something's up.
wrong.
So
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Ah.
yeah.
yeah, so I called back and I was like, what's up? And he's like, try again. So I tried again, and here we are.
Dude, that's great. And like, yeah, both of your, and we're gonna talk about your work and stuff because there's some questions about like your process and stuff because we got the Q&A coming up in a second. But like, yeah, the stuff that you guys do, and but particularly another reason why I wanted to bring you guys in is because it's a big part of the process, right? Like just from going from your illustrations and your concept into a 3D model, and from there, and the more people we're going to talk to over time, but like you go into animation, you go into implementing it into the game, but like you guys are two key links in that initial chain from like, and particularly with Hauke here as well, from like concept to illustration to 3D model. Like it's a full thing, and yeah, it's really nice to see, and the fact that you guys get on so well and everything, it really makes a nice symbiotic relationship. So yeah, I really wanted to showcase that. But speaking
Like our real ones.
exactly,
Right.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get into questions. We got a bunch of questions from people. As always, we ask on Discord and we ask around if anyone's got any questions for this month's Q&A, and we have a few. So I'm going to get into our first one. Fenogly96 asks, what gives you the idea for creating art/models for Coreborn? So let's get right into it. Like, how do you create an upcoming idea for a creature or place, for example? And what steps does it take to implement the finished idea in the game? So that's like kind of discussing, like, what is that chain for you guys? Like, where does like an initial idea come from, and how does that get passed through and to the point where you have a finished model? So I guess the first person to start off it would probably be yourself, Hauke, like with from beginning, and then we got Jerry, and then we got Helmut, because that feels like it's the chain as we just described. But like, what's you guys' experience of that?
Kind of. I would say in a lot of cases, actually, the initial idea at this point comes from someone on the team rather than only from me. I mean, maybe we can take the Gibling as an example, because the general creature already existed in the universe. It was mentioned in my head. It looked a little, even almost not completely different, but it looked different. And then based on how important it is that it meets a certain visual vision, I forward information to Jerry. Ideally, in his case, because he's very good at imagining things himself. It depends on the concept artist. There's artists who love to be as precise as possible, and there's people who want as much freedom as possible. And generally with creatures, it makes a lot of sense to keep some freedom so that people can imagine stuff rather than you just handing them everything. And so I think with this one, I think I told you they are blue. They are tiny. They look like kobolds a little bit. And that's what I basically gave you. And then I can hand over to Jerry because that's where basically he took over.
Yeah. And in this particular case, actually, the Gibling was like, it wasn't really a task that I got from Hauke. So he definitely wanted that in the game, but it wasn't actually a task yet. But I was working on the very first illustration, which is the one that you, for example, see on the website and stuff like that. And I just had the idea like, okay, we have this dinosaur and the hero character. We need something small. Then I put a mullion in because I knew Helmut did that already, and he had shown me that before, and I liked it, so I put that in. And I was like, there's something small missing, something on the back of the dinosaur, for example. And then I was watching the Rocket Beans videos again, and then I got to the point where they were talking about the driblings, and I was like, that's a cool idea. So I asked Hauke. He was like, yeah, sure, go for it. And since there was no real visual design that much, other than the points Hauke just mentioned, I just started doing some explorations, just imagining, like Hauke said, like little characters, blue, help us with everything. They build stuff, they help you with stuff in this world. And that's basically how it started. And I did like quick rough sketches, just really having fun, completely free stuff. And from that, I asked the team, I asked Hauke, I asked the team, hey, here's some ideas for the driblings. What do you think? And everyone was participating. It was like, I like this one, I like this one. This one looks like he's, I don't know, does have this characteristic or this. And from there, we could kind of decide, okay, what do we want them to feel like? Do we want them to feel like maybe a bit like evil, or more like very friendly, or a bit stupid, or whatever? So that always helps to get feedback along the way. And from that, I designed something from different angles, so you can kind of see the creature or character from different sides. And as soon as everything's done, and you have like in 2D at least, a visual representation of what we want, I go over to, for example, Helmut or anyone else in the 3D department, and I can basically tell them, here's the concept, now build it in 3D. And I think that's a good point to hand over to Helmut.
Yeah. After he handing over me the concept, I check the concept. Is everything clear on the concept? What things do we need to discuss with other departments? Like, okay, what is the movement? What should the dribbling all should be doing? Like, is he doing a backflip, or can he extend his arm or something like that? Like crazy things. Like, okay, the mouth is open. How wide and all the things? He has a tongue, all the things, all the movements. Like, okay, then if not everything is clear, I will go back to Jerry asking, did you clear this one, or did you have some things for this one? And then I will start with the block out, and will refine all the blockouts, and also go back to concept asking, hey, can you draw over my block out to give a more clear vision for all the other departments, also for me to know, okay, this is the thing that works. And also when some things not work in 3D, then here, can you draw it in 2D on this side, then you know better, okay, that's working like that. And also with the block out, when I have more the refined block out, all the shapes are approved. I will give the block out to the animation department or the rigging department, so they can already start with the rigging. So we have more time, spare time on other things. And then I will continue with the details and all the sculpting. And after this, I export the high poly. We're using the high to low workflow. It's better and easier, and it's a new, better workflow. And then I will do export retopo. Retopo is a thing I hate to do, but it's a must thing we need to do. So
I was about to say, you can hate it as much as you want. You'll keep doing it.
yeah, it's always you need to love it to make it better, because you don't want a 10 gigabyte character who's burn all the CPUs, the GPUs, and like, no, you don't want that.
Yeah.
So we want a low poly character that we can use. So after the texturing, after the retopo stage, I do UVs, and UVs is like you have a paper cube, and you fold it, like putting out, and then you can draw on it. So that's the UV. And after I finish that, I give the low poly to the rigging and animation department, so they can start with weight painting and all the other stuff, like applying the right bones and everything. And I go on to texturing and apply base colors and everything, and also give some base colors on everything. So the good stuff that's clear and approved, I will give it also to animation department, so they have a better character to work with in their animations and all the things. Then see what is stretching on the texture and what's not stretching. Okay, you need to consider that in texture and consider that in texture. And after that, I I import a character, like just a character and all the materials, set up the material, apply it on the mesh, and after that the animation, all the things all come. So that animation department, all the other things need to worry about. Okay, what I need to do in the engine? Like, no, it's all inside in the engine. Like, it's materials done. Like, let's go import. It's done. So and if there's something missing or something, they can go back to me. Okay, I changed that. I fixed that, and that's the whole process, I think.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
That's genuinely
Which is also-
fascinating.
Yeah.
That was just 2 months of work that we just described, and it's not even moving.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, there's which we'll get to, but there's, like I said, there's
yeah.
a whole other part of the chain before it, like,
Mhm.
you see it in a video
Yeah.
game. But like,
I
yeah,
think what's interesting, what Jerry mentioned, is the feeling. I think what carries through with all departments, which is sometimes undervalued because it feels so hard to grasp, is we generally, most of the time, check back, does this creature still feel the way it was intended? I tell Jerry how I feel about this creature. Is this friendly, scary, funny? Is it intimidating? Is it wild? Is it domesticated? And that is what we later proof check again. When I first see Helmut's creatures, the first thing we talk about is, does it still feel heavy? Does it still feel light? Does it still feel cute? And if that is not the case, that's what we check back on. Yeah. And I think that's interesting that is seemingly to me, at least most of the time, the only thing that actually carries through. Everything is negotiable except for the actual emotion and place it has in the world.
yeah, man. And this does kind of Cyraleaf asked a question about translating a vibrant style into 3D models, and do you consider expression, movement a character can make when you start on a model? And that just links directly into that, right? Like, it's all coming from that very initial thing of like, what is this creature? What does it do? And it's going down from there. So yeah, man, that's interesting to know.
Yeah.
Shakatai also asked a quick question for Jerry. Just like, you receive a concept, for example, it's just the characteristics of the hedonists described to you, and then do you just draw what comes to mind? I imagine that might be your process, right? They also wanted to know, does fan art from the Rocket Beans P&Ps ever influence what you do, or do you not look at that at all because you want to have original, like, thought and ideas coming from you? Interested on both points.
Yeah. So, there
See you
it goes.
later. All right.
Before this is
I
gonna
just hung
happen.
that up so that it looks better here.
Yeah, we just started and we was like, that'll look good up there. Like, yeah, it does. Like, yeah, awesome. Hey, man, hey, look.
All good.
Now we can really showcase it. Like, put it right in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good bit of art. There you go. But there you go. Anyway, Jerry, you were saying.
Yeah. So there's two sides to this. I think. I think many people see taking inspiration from what has already been done as like cheating or copying, and I think there's a gray zone. But generally, I do both. So I did look at the images that were done for the Rocket Beans shows, but I did so very early in the beginning. And like when I came back to certain creatures or characters, I didn't get too much like inspiration from that again. Like I kind of remembered how they looked like, but I also knew that this game Coreborn will be like its own kind of project, and we do want like our own visual language. So yes, probably a little bit might be a little bit of inspiration might come from there too, but the other side is like you can go through movies, books, games, and whatnot and see what has been done, and I think that's a good thing to start, because you can point out like, we want something a bit like this, and we definitely do not want this. So that's good to draw from in the beginning. But then the other side is what I really like to do is, yes, of course, like what comes to mind. But that, again, I think is based heavily on what my personal experiences are. I told Helmut this earlier. If I were to design, say, a character that is like a boxer and is like very good with people and very open and like, hey, I'm this guy, I would probably think of Helmut while I'm designing that character. So I draw from the people around me, family, friends, stuff like that.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Like,
I can also only second that, because I think that's the biggest difference to me between a concept artist and just general art. Like, I love two of the main quotes, and like this one is that art exists for the sole purpose of its existence, or at least it can, and good design follows given or determined rules and stays within their boundaries to fulfill a need. And I think concepts are design more than art in a lot of cases, and good design looks around itself and gathers references. So most of the time, if Jerry makes a concept and hands it back to me or to Kay, who influences a lot of the work currently or permanently, then most of the time it will be absolutely asked of him to give references, to have something that shows a visual influence and a good combination of things. And same goes for 3D even. Like, I would ask Helmut the same. I would ask, why did you not take any references into account when millions of people have done something similar before you and had so many learnings from it? Because that's kind of the not so artsy part. You're not getting the brush out and doing what looks cool. You're getting the pen out to write down things before you start drawing anything with it.
Yeah, 100%. And I've always said it. People have always said that is part of the. I was about to say. I've always said that art is we're all building from each other. It's a well-known saying of mine. That's the part where you take someone else's thing and just say it's yours. That's what you don't do. But it like all art and video games are art. It's all, we're all building off the shoulders of people that have come before us, and it's all just going up and forward forever. Like, that's the whole idea. So yeah, that's good to know. Now, Shellycraft asks a question that gets into something we mentioned a little earlier, which was they was watching the last gameplay video, and they realized when you cut a tree, the wood will drop next to you. When you harvest an ambroom, by the way, unofficial name for the mushrooms in Coreborn. Ambrooms, like, people have been saying it on the Discord. I'm into it. I like ambroom. And yeah,
I'll actually write it down because I like it.
Ambrooms.
And we are actually looking for names for those mushrooms right now. Like, no joking, we are actually looking for those.
Shellycraft, I think, came up with it, and I was like, ambrooms. Like, yeah. But yeah.
And they also give me some berry names because I have to write some, and I don't want to do that work.
Amberries, right?
And
that's me working off of the back of Shellycraft. We're all building together. So it will also show up on the floor, and you can pick it up. Now, will this be the case for all kinds of materials it can harvest? So you always have to pick it up separately, which I believe will be the case because it goes on the floor, you pick it up. Now, the real question is, would it be possible for someone else to pick up the wood? If you cut the tree, but another player just waits next to you, could they just steal it while you're harvesting it? And they were saying
who
it's sometimes
would ever do such a thing?
Who would stand right next to you and just staring?
Not Helmut.
Definitely not Helmut.
And just so you know, that is basically Helmut's default stance in any playtest.
Yeah, man.
Because to answer the question and tell you how horrible Helmut is at the same time, like, no, that is not the intended design. That is currently a placeholder, and we of course want to take measurements so other people cannot steal your stuff. And Helmut will 24/7 stand next to you while you do anything and try to steal your stuff.
Yeah, like
Head of troll department.
Yeah.
All I say.
I need to find ways to troll people, so I also can hide in the bushes. Like, that's fun. Like, okay, that's never when we have the player names out. Like, okay, I'm in the bush. You don't know I'm there, and then
He stands there and waits for you to chop down the tree so he can steal it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to gather all this stuff to make a top. An
You don't say.
Yeah.
That's also, that's a great setup for building a survival game. I don't want to do all the survival stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to do that
straight
bit.
up to building something or to,
Yeah, Helmut's not a fool. He's
fun.
like, look, I can see this guy's doing the work. Why would I? Like, I could just
Also,
get right in.
there's literally
think smart, not hard.
where you meet Helmut. Number one is he steals your shit. Number two, you're like, who's that cheating over there? And then suddenly the dice comes running and Helmut gets very quiet on voice.
Yeah. Or like, if you've seen any of our TikToks, like the time I fell through the really long stair thing we made, that was Helmut that deleted the thing underneath me. And I knew it was coming because he was, Helmut's going to do something because his character just starts following you close. Like, you're just walking along. Helmut's not saying nothing, but he's just close, and you're just like, hey, man, what's up?
Yeah,
What's
well,
going on?
I just like checking on people, like, okay,
Yeah.
what they're doing. So like
Yeah.
keeping an eye on them, like if they
Just
need
making sure
something.
that they do not forget to loot anything in the first
Yeah.
12
Yeah.
microseconds after it's been on the ground. Yeah.
And they're every time aware, like, okay, I'm stepping on some things, like, okay, hey, beware, you can fall down. Oh, it's not my fault, but you fall down.
Yeah, you fell.
And
Yeah,
every
yeah.
now and then,
There's
and every
quality
now and then
assurance
he
and there's
finds
troll
something.
assurance, and that is just Helmut's department.
We know now. Like we know what is possible and what we need to do. Like that's the next one. So
Yeah.
Flixcore on Discord has 2 questions, and the first one is: will there be an option to build your own marketplace in your own city where you can offer materials and crafted stuff? Is that anything we're considering?
We are currently working on different concepts when it comes to the idea of players trading server-wide and Coreheim-wide, where server-wide means for me your survival server, and Coreheim means you can trade with anyone on the whole game's population. The initial deal was a very MMOE auction house. We did not like that felt so passive. So one of the concepts discussed is something like you might have seen in Rust, for example, where they have player shops that they can hook up to their bases. Something like that is currently being discussed. I cannot make any promises.
Nice.
Always super disappointing, but it's just too early to say this is definitely in the game. But yeah, the
100%.
more active it is, the more likely we will in the end decide for it. There were even the idea for like little carry shops that you literally have around your belly and walk around town in Coreheim and just scream what you're sharing with or what you're selling to people.
That would
But
be
yeah,
great. That would be so
In the
great.
voice chat, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a question about that later on. Like, is there going to be voice chat and stuff like that? But we'll get to that. The second question, which is a question I've seen asked a number of times: will there be mounts? Is that anything we're considering? Is that something that's going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Like, I've had a number of people ask that, so it'd be interesting to know. Mounts.
say there is definitely concepts for making player travel faster, slower, or in one directional faster. To give an example, for example, a raft or a bridge that is broken and you can only jump it from one side and from the other you can't. Mounts is a gigantic thing. I think, as cool as it sounds, it is currently not in development, mainly because our map is big. But for us, it is not big enough yet to say we want to significantly speed up your travel speed. That will eventually change, though. And I think latest with the first bigger content update, we will potentially already bring some form of mounts or rideable objects or animals into the game.
Yeah. It's just, like you say, I know for Ambros is what we're working on at the moment. We've shared this before. That's where we're at the moment. And so, but as you've seen the map before, there are all the other areas of Tormentosi that we're going to expand into, and that's, yeah, like you say, when it might make sense. So, FM Shimmer on Discord asks, another question we've been asked a few times, will you be able to play as other races and countries, and would these come as DLC? Because at the moment...
Not as DLCs.
Yes.
This is still planned as a free-to-play game, so there is no DLC concept yet. No, there is no DLC concept at all.
Yeah.
So yes, you will be able. We are already in concept working on new playable races. Nations is what we generally call them because, like, yeah, it just defines the term better in our world.
I agree.
Yes, you will eventually be able to play as different nations. They will not be DLCs in that sense. They will be content updates.
Awesome. Nice.
At least as currently planned. There's currently no DLC plans.
Yeah, and as we always say, we are very much pre-alpha at the moment, and things will
Yeah.
always change as we go along. But the good thing about the way we talk to you now is things will always be communicated to you. So, and we're always quite open with answering questions. So, like, we're good to go on that front.
Yeah.
Nimataya on Discord asked, as they watched the latest video where me and you, Hauke, were building or beginning to build a town. They asked, by building a town center relay tower, you could not see the radius in which you will be able to build your house. So this is just while you're placing it, like while you're thinking of putting it down. I guess it would be nice to see the ring before placing it so you can align it better with cliffs, rivers, and so on. Or is it intentional as the town will grow? So I guess they're just wondering if that will be a feature when putting it down.
It is not intentional, and it will not be an alpha most likely, but yes, eventually we want you to be able, eventually the system will work completely different. You basically have the tower as an item in your inventory, and when you place it down, you're a lot more free to turn it around, put it specifically, maybe even with a different camera angle. And that's the easiest answer. The building menu does, the building mode does currently not have a dedicated camera only for itself, which is something that we later want to do, and that will ideally, and of course in that case, allow you to see the outline of the town that you're about to place. Yes, there will be some visual indicator of how big that town is.
Awesome. Nosebud on YouTube, when they spelled there were 3, so I was like,
Nice.
yeah, I remember talking about being elite. Like, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm old. Like, that was it. I was like, yeah. But they said, I love your building system already, but I also wonder if building parts are inspired by hedonistic culture and if other architectural designs and other cultures will be incorporated later. So this is a similar kind of thing on the cultures and stuff like that, but like whether different, like for example, Steam Dwarf style architecture would come later down the line. Is that something? Yes,
there will be. Yeah, there will be other designs for other nations. We are already in concept working on other designs for other nations. There will be a mixed system. Some of those will, as a free-to-play game, only be skins. Others will be material-based changes, and you will be able to combine them within one building, for example, so that you have, I don't know, Steam Dwarf balcony, Children of the Source gate, and the ramp is from a hedonist building. If that looks good, we will see. But it is potentially possible. There is other architectural parts that are then part of the same building system. Yes.
Nice. Yeah, and I know, Jerry, you will be, if not already, working on concepts for such things. So it's going to be exciting to see.
Very well be. Yeah.
Also, maybe important to mention, eventually, these ideally also interact with the surroundings. So let's just say if you're building with shell as a material that you found in the area of the Children of the Source, the building that results from it will most likely have the highest resistance to water, but might be very weak against very strong stone attacks, for example. So the buildings, and I think that Ambros shows that not ideally because it's so realistic looking still, that will even change a little more, but it is ideal for the environment it's built in, but there will be other environments where it's not ideal. Like these buildings are not perfect to be put in water, for example. They are not perfect to be put in mountains as they don't keep warm. They are for warm environments with an abundance of certain resources and are easily accessible and gatherable and can grow quite tall in a fast time. And other sets will have other values that we tweak with.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Helmut, are you involved in the 3D element of like making the building pieces or anything at all?
Not at all. I'm just
you made the lantern.
Yeah, okay.
I was thinking, I was like, I'm sure you did some stuff.
Okay,
No, go ahead.
Okay, I'm 3D character, so I do all the creatures, but I also help out the other departments, all the things. So for the rigging and animation, I help also this department out. So I do the rigging for the Gothkin. So this, and I do some props for also the environment department when I'm fast done with some characters. I'm like, hey, what's not also on the table? Who can I help? What can I do? So asking different ones, do you have some assets for me that I can do? Nope. Okay. Character and animation, can I help you? Okay, nice. Give me this. Go back. Zack, taking this, and then the lanterns was one thing. Like you can the lantern, and also a lead has also doing some things like, hey, can you do this for me? I do this, like also shelves and book things, like stuff like that I can help out with that.
Awesome. And
so
one quick follow-up question I also wanted to ask to you, Jerry, was like, because we've got 2 more quick questions, but I really want to, I'm interested. Architectural stuff for you, Jerry, is that like because I've seen concepts you've done for like buildings and stuff like that. Is that a natural thing for you, or is that like a new? Because that's like that feels like it's a whole different discipline, like sort of designing buildings and stuff like that. And I know you're not drawing like actual architectural plans that like a builder would have to follow, but it still feels like a different thing. Does that come natural to you, or like was it a new skill?
So the whole architectural stuff or structures like that, like for example the relay towers that we have so far, I did concepts for those. Yes, those were definitely a new area to me. It's not like I've never drawn buildings or stuff like that before, but it's definitely a bit out of my comfort zone because I'm very much focused on characters and creatures. I always like to say I draw whatever I draw, it lives. it should be alive, it should be moving. But who says a building can't live, right? So it
like
was
the
a
relay
new,
tower, for example.
Yeah, right, right.
Everything has a soul.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, no. So it was definitely a kind of a new discipline for me, but I always try to embrace stuff like that and be like, okay, this is a challenge, yes, but in the end, I will be a better artist, right? So, and this was definitely the case here. I think the team did notice a difference between, for example, me making the Ghibling and making the relay tower, because I went back to them way more often to ask for for feedback and what do you think? How does this look? And also with the 3D department, I get more questions now, considering my concepts, like how did you mean this? Or could you make another sketch for that? So yeah, it is a bit different. It is a bit harder for me in the beginning, but it's all learning process and it's still all fun. Yeah.
Awesome, man. I got one more question, then we're going to move on to our gameplay presentation. Zephix on Discord, and this should be a quick one, asked, will survival elements like hunger and temperature be disabled for adventures and Coreheim? And those are two kind of separate things, so what's the
Yeah,
thinking?
they are completely separate from each other. Maybe it's a good point to stress that again. Coreheim and adventures are completely separate. What you understood 100% right, because you asked that question, is though they are different instances. They happen on different rule sets. So I can universally answer that for Coreheim. Some of the effects will be disabled, others might not be. Because hunger is more the angle that we're not coming for. It is more likely that if you are full, as in Valheim, for example, you get a bonus on something. And if you do not eat, you do not get that bonus. And you will, in Coreheim, potentially run out of that bonus after a while. So if you keep running around and you have movement buff, that movement buff will run out eventually. But in adventures, that is different. Depending on the adventure, environmental effects, that's what I call like cold, hot, wet, whatever. These might or might not be there, and same goes for buffs or debuffs. That depends highly on the nature of the adventure. Is that something that we're, like the hot mode that we're currently developing, will that be one of the other two concepts we're currently working on, or something completely different? So the answer is partly yes, but in both worlds, parts of these or even all of them will still exist.
There you go. Well, Hauke, what we got to do now is you've got to do a gameplay presentation, and you got to show the people
Okay.
right now. So if you could just get on with that, that would be great.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, man. Enjoy this.
Thank you. Yeah.
We'll be back.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Hello, everyone. I'm Hauke, the creative director at Blankhans, the studio behind Coreborn, the upcoming social survival game. We are currently in pre-alpha, so everything you see and get presented today, it is an update on the ongoing development of our game, so please feel free to ask questions. I'll also do my best to always make clear, hey, this is not as intended, or this might change in the future, but sometimes it is hard for me to even remember what is all the stuff I already told. If it's the same for you, feel free to check out our YouTube. Either you're seeing this on our YouTube right now. If you don't, coreborn.gg as the webpage. That's where you'll find our Steam wishlist, where you can just wishlist us immediately. You'll find our Discord, where you can ask all the questions, communicate with us, and a link to our YouTube and all the other socials where we keep you updated on the current progress. Speaking of progress, this is one of our regular content updates, so let me introduce to you the current build. I will, in this one, for the first time, jump in between builds, because there is a little misbehavior in one system that I want to show you today, so don't be irritated if there's a little cut at some point. I'll do my best to make it as smooth as possible, which will not be smooth at all, and good luck, Chris, in editing it. So, let me jump into it right ahead. There is a new forest. I think we've already shown some of the new trees. We are currently experimenting with things. If you remember, we've shown this in a state where there's a lot less of these bushes, of this shrubbery, and would love to hear your guys' feedback on it. It's currently very dense. You already see the new trees here. They are gorgeous. I love them. I love the diversity in the colors. You see there is some weird behaviors where they sometimes pot into or out of screen. That is completely normal, as we said, early alpha or pre-alpha even, and ongoing development. But would love to hear some feedback on the density of the forest. Do you feel like that's too much bushes? Is that too little? Do you want it more dense, less dense? Because I think what I really like about it is that there is these little openings where you can find spots and even see stuff. And later, when the night comes in, you can actually see the shield over there hitting the mountains. Oh, I have to eat something. On the other side, there is something new that I visually want to show you. As I said, don't pay attention to the popping in and out trees. This is an in-development build. But what we can already see is a new beam of the Ultracore that looks a lot better. You see it also interacting with the clouds in a super cool way. It is turning, spreading out to the sides. Super pretty. Big fan of this effect. Shout out to the team member that did it, because they paid a lot of attention to it and put a lot of work in it. It looks super gorgeous, and it will look even better at night and when we visit Piper's Whistle later. Before we visit there, though, I want to show you another thing that changed. A little warning here. The sounds that we currently implemented in our crafting system are very loud. They are not at all leveled yet, and they are work in progress. Some of them we are happy with, others will change. Again, super interested in your feedback. Share that on Discord, share that in the comments here. We answer them as much as possible, which is at this early stage, even as thankful as we are for the gigantic amount of attention we're already receiving from you guys. Yeah, please feel free to give feedback. We'll answer as much as possible. Pressing C now. Headphone warning. Things are very loud. There is sounds now. If I hover over things, you will hear some system sounds. If I choose something, you will hear that. If I decide to actually craft something, there's now little indicators of me crafting things. And there is additionally also a lot more recipes in here. There are more coming, but you can some see the names already. Refined resin, bread. You can now cook some things and things like that. Opening, closing the menu also does a sound. I'll stay away from the menu now because it is very, very loud and we want to hear more of the game and less of that menu. The next system that we're going to jump into it is the one that I am going to change builds for. So I'll record it after that because I am very lazy. So good luck editing this, Chris. The music just comes in. Smooth transition in here. Thank you very much, Past Hauke. This is Future Hauke. Actually, Future Hauke realized, Past Hauke, that you've been kind of stupid and Chris has to edit this because of nothing. Because it is a bug, but it is seemingly location-based, so I'm on the same build. I just went to a different location because I wanted to show you some things on our town system. So what this basically is some extension on the general system of towns. Just a little reminder, a town is basically an area on the map that you claim. Now this town center already has like some VFX, the crystal here is moving, it's glowing, and it marked a spot on the map that is now ours. And what I can do now in this build is I built an expansion tower, put it here, and as soon as I bring it into existence, it claims extra area. Of course, this asset will look different. It is now a placeholder that looks the same. It will be smaller. You integrate it into buildings. But as you see, you basically use it to make the area that you claim bigger and therefore allow you to build more space. Because within this is now my marked area. I can build things here. I can bring things into existence. These are mine. No one else can interact with them. Speaking of no one can interact with them, there is also now, as a new item, you will see a beautiful placeholder, a town storage. This is something for the first time where we can interact with other players. Only people that are part of this town can interact with this. You see two inventories. I can, for example, decide, I want my plant fiber stored here. I don't need my linen right now, and maybe I want to use my leather later. If we go away from this, then you will see that it is not in my inventory anymore. Once I go back to the town storage, it's back in there, and other players that are part of this town can also take it. It's a cool way of basically gathering resources. We could go and chop down some wood, put it in this, and other players can use it. As you see, there's already, we've shown that last time, a possibility to add resources. Our town is level 1. Sorry for everyone who is like, same as me, kind of blinded by the whiteness of the screen. Here is a list. Of course, this is all work in progress, alpha interfaces, but this town can then expand. And in the later versions, the idea is that a town level 1 can maybe only have one of these expansions, a town level 2 can have 2, a town level 3 can have 3, and so on and so forth. Of course, that being a little more detailed in the way it expands, but I hope that you like this. It is super cool in my opinion that you can now actually start expanding the tower, that you can also level up your town and unlock more features, like for example, and I'm opening the crafting menu again, don't be shocked by the loud sound. For example, to craft more of these cool recipes that come up, and also we will soon have crafting stations which are linked to these town levels. Super cool, really looking forward to sharing more of that. And I guess it's back to the past from the future. I have fun transitioning that, Hauke. And now I'm back, which was another very smooth transition. Thank you very much, Hauke, for handing over to me, because this is again the current internal testing build, where I want to pay some attention or get some focus on some of the visual changes on the map. I will, as usual, teleport around a little bit because I hope this works. Our engineer or says our 3D artist wasn't sure if this will immediately work. Where is the there it is, the observatory. Because one of our 3D artists made the effort to build something just because they wanted to. You see this beautiful observatory up there. And this little cool indicator that it's there. Let me get away from the river so that it doesn't obstruct us audio visually so much. And these cool little lanterns, shout out to the artists that made those, concept and 3D. Wonderful work, show us the path up here. And again, this is something that over the holidays actually, our 3D lead, David, made just because he wanted it in here. Or because he felt it was a cool idea. I agree very much, this turned out super gorgeous. And the wind and everything. I'll just shut up and walk around for a second. Also cool effect. You can finally see the shield. We're at the absolute edge of the map. The shield shimmering. It is actually moving. You barely see it. We have to fine tune that a little bit. But yeah, and let's go inside. This is the observatory. Super cool inside. The sound turns down a little bit. There is some snow falling in through that opening. Super, super cool. He made all this from assets that already exist. I think that shows the huge potential of creative artists. These books just came in. This will be a lore site, so it is integrated into our event loop system, which is, I always say, similar to quests or like location-based quests, but it is not really that. If you are interested, watch the last videos where we explain those. Yeah, gorgeous work. I'll walk around it a little bit. Super, super cool. Big fan of this. Also these little boxes, little bench here. So cool. Gorgeous view of the map from up here. You can even see Megalos, the sorrow, or the never, like, I think the eternal sorrow pot is what we called it. Super, super cool. Even in the sky, you can see like a little bit of the shimmer of the shield coming through. Super, super gorgeous. Speaking of gorgeous things, I think what changed too is the absolutely beautiful. Was that visual? I just got a little notification sound that I want to record this. I hope this is not in the recording, but I'll jump back to another location. Maybe we can just go there from Piper's Whistle. I think that will make a lot of sense. Oh, sorry, I picked the wrong one. Teleport. And now we're actually there. Piper's Whistle also changed a lot over the last weeks. You've seen this location several times though. Here's, for example, where we haven't replaced the trees yet. These trees are pretty, yeah, they are pretty too, but I love ours much better. So let me just quickly walk up to another location, because what we did is we updated a lot of the roads and biomes on our map. This is also currently ongoing because when you saw our presentations, you might have noticed a lot of the map is often very, very empty, and we are changing that currently. So a lot of these roads are right now changing. Oh, actually I took a whoopsie. I walked the wrong path. Maybe I'll cheat a little bit just to be faster. You know what? I won't. It's just a 2-minute walk. Why not enjoy that little walk with you guys? Also, I can sprint from time to time. Because this map has a laid out system of roads. We are trying to make things more unique. The farmlands biome here on the left is what you'll probably see change the next time. because we are walking through the farmlands most of the time during these presentations. The fields, these golden fields and some grassy areas that you see, and they are very, very not polished yet. But let me just quickly head over here. And yeah, ongoing development, you'll also see some of these changes. But this is a good point to speak about something that is not in these presentations, but still is for us a huge thing. We are finally starting to get out there and present our game with more and more influences. We've been seen on some streams. We've actually been featured on a podcast recently. You will please follow us on Twitter and on Discord. You will receive a link to that because that podcast will be released the same week that I'm recording this, where we answer a lot of questions, where we start to get outside of the bubble that we live in still a little bit, even if it is very, very early. Also, yeah, Alpha isn't even out yet. Still, we have so much interest. Thank you for that so much. And feel free to take the time to ask questions about Alpha. We haven't fully decided yet how we will make Alpha access available, but it will absolutely for sure happen through Discord. We will do all the announcements on it to our core community. We want you guys who are most involved with the game and who are most involved with the ideas of the game in it, so that we can receive feedback that really, really is valuable to us. And yeah, love the ideas that are coming in. We are getting close to the lore site that we've already seen. This is the bandit camp, and we'll not walk into that actually, because what I want to show you is these beautiful little paths, and I will at some point maybe activate my little sheet where I walk a little faster eventually. But I wanted to share something that is maybe interesting to people who have not that much background in game development, because currently, as you see, this is a road. But changing the trees on a map, as we did here, is not as easy of a task as you might think, because you also have to change the nature of these roads. This forest does currently not know that this is a road. These trees are in here, but they are overgrowing all of it. They are not interacting with it as intended, and that is super interesting to see, but you can already kind of get an idea of how much these little roads change how lively this map feels, because you might recall that we visited this spot before and it looked a lot more empty. And now there is another road over here where our 3D artists actually went to the effort of taking these away. And it also made it so pretty. The paths are changing so much. And I know it seems like a minor detail, but to me it is so huge that we actually have these roads now. They really, really add to the overall feel for me. And I will now actually cheat a little bit. But maybe... You know what? No, maybe I'll leave that up to Chris, because there's a cool mountain path and this is a good teaser. Chris, tell Chris on our Discord that you want to see the other paths, the mountain paths and things like that, because they are so interesting. And I think that is already the main changes that happened, because most of the other things I showed you in the little path that I'm going to record now. So I hope past Hauke did, or future Hauke did a good job at explaining to you in the past what has been happening. Let me find a pretty view. This is a pretty view. Thank you so much for checking out these updates. We are currently developing so much on the system of towns, on social systems. We can't stress enough, this is a very social game. We need your interaction with it. We want to see what you do with these systems and how you feedback them in alpha. And then after that, we will focus a lot on fighting, which we're doing right now, and on crafting. The skill system will slowly come in. Events will show up and adventures. These systems have been mentioned a lot, but there is so much coming. I can't thank you enough for being here, for being excited about these updates as much as we are, or as I am. Please keep that coming. Please let us know how you feel about things. Thank you. Talk to you soon. And check out the other videos that are probably in this end card, because I think Chris will do a smart job at linking the ones that show the best way that there is progress, and that we really appreciate your feedback. See you soon.
You can come back now,
I'll
Hauke.
come back then, right?
Yeah.
You come back.
You can come back now.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my favorite game in the world. Coreborn.gg wishlist right now. Check out every YouTube video ever made.
This guy gets it. Please do.
Cut.
There you go. There you go. That's our gameplay presentation for the month. I hope you all enjoyed it. And this is our community Q&A and hangout session for the month. Thank you so much, all of you who are watching this today, for joining us. And I would like to take the time to thank all of you, Hauke, Jerry, Helmut, for being here today and for answering the questions for the community. I know they greatly appreciate it, and particularly like Helmut and Jerry, I couldn't wait to get you guys on because just the work you guys do between the two of you and the beginning of that flow. So good. Like just
Chef's kiss.
yeah, it's really good stuff, and like it's so, to me, it's so exciting that I get to work with people like as talented as this whole team, and I will talk specifically to you guys because you guys are here. But it's really exciting, like with the emotes, like it was just that on its own was just like, oh, maybe we could work on this, and you just nailed it like so quickly, and like it was perfect, and it's so exciting to get to work with someone like. If you've seen even these YouTube thumbnails, that was Jerry right there. Like you might have noticed we got new ones that look way better than the ones Chris was making. That was Jerry. He was on it. So yeah, amazing stuff. And Helmut, like the stuff you're putting into the game and like the kind of world life stuff that you bring to all these characters and places, and take what Jerry's done and make it like now it's real. Like it's super exciting. So I appreciate both of you, and obviously
all the
Hauke.
team effort.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah,
it's
thank
the whole
you,
team.
Chris.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
you.
Also, and additionally, I have to stress that all three of you are really good people.
Yes,
I know that always is a
thanks.
little understated, but I really appreciate working with people that I actually like.
It helps.
Oh, thank you.
I'll tell you that.
Same
It
here.
definitely helps.
Did you-
So yeah.
Did you watch in the mirror? I think you can say the same thing to you.
Hey, there we go.
Oh,
Yeah. It's all coming together. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. As we've mentioned before, we have a closed alpha coming soon. We will have more news on that soon. If you join our Discord, which the links will be in the video that you're watching right now, right below, there'll be a link to the Discord. Join in there. That's the first place you're going to be able to find out how to join that closed alpha. But for now, though, as Hauke said, give the video a like, subscribe. Why not? Leave a comment. Wishlist the game on Steam if you haven't already. Get on that because it all helps. And from an honest standpoint, like that all genuinely helps us as a team, and that all genuinely helps spread the word. I always do it in that kind of like YouTuber, like, oh, we should do it. But then I'm like, but really, it does help the game. So if you appreciate it, we greatly appreciate it as well. So yeah, thank you very much. For now, though,
smash the like button.
Smash that like button.
That guy,
Smash that.
that's it, we learned
Yeah.
it. Smash
Yes.
the like button,
Smash
subscribe
like
this
button.
channel, tell all your friends, call your mom. And
Get really aggro about it for like no reason. Like, anyway, take care, everybody. We will see you soon. See you next month for our
Bye-bye.
next Q&A.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.